and they kind of gave up on me and just just get married, and I was actually
as
going
long as
out
it's
with
a female.
no, it had to be Punjabi female. So the girl I was going out with was half, not from India. She was half European, half Indian, and my parents were not happy with that. But then they kind of accepted, and then I had my own reasons for not, getting married. But eventually, they just wanted me to get married to anyone. It was, like Rupa said, it was a female, and that was because of what they believed that I should do. My name is Vinay.
And I'm Rupa Palmer.
Let's get straight into it. Why don't you take away?
Always giving the buck to me first, right?
It eases the pressure.
Right, so we have decided today we are going to talk about something which maybe a lot of entrepreneurs, Asian entrepreneurs can kind of relate to. And that topic is going to cover things around being brown and having generational beliefs.
Absolutely. I mean, we've all had, in any culture, in any country or set of countries, there is a certain way of doing things culturally, in ways that things are done in so many senses, and it can filter into business or how we earn money, who we marry, what we should do living day to day, and what's expected actually. So, there's a balance between the two. I think, I'm not talking that we just do what we want to do in life and live how we want to live and just ignore culture, tradition, and all those things. But there has to be some kind of balance. So, really and truly, it's about talking about that. Because I think that me and Rupa, getting married, broke the cultural expectation. Maybe more on Rupa's part than mine. For those who don't know, I'm Punjabi, Sikh, and Rupa is Hindu, Gujarati. And there's a bit of a difference there. She'll go into
A huge difference. I mean, this topic is not so much about our marriage or our relationship or how it all began, and we're definitely going to save that for another episode. However, it's more about how we got into a different kind of business or different kind of industry and just went outside of the box, not really exactly what our generations were following or what our ancestors were even doing or what our parents were even doing, just generation, above us. So it was very, very untraditional. It was unconventional. And just to go through a few of the things that we experienced, because you may also be experiencing it, or maybe you will in the future.
I mean, many of the beliefs come from, survival. Both our parents were not born in the UK. And, coming over here in whatever, 60s, 70s, 80s. And, it's a new country. There's a certain level of survival or kind of preservation of values and traditions from India, whether it be East Africa. Rupa's mum's Kenyan. I don't know why I did that, but yeah. Nairobi,
Jambo,
Mombasa.
habari.
Nairobi, Mombasa is just like an incredible place. And I've always said this to Rupa, I find that especially because I've been to Kenya. Kenyans I could talk about because I've experienced how they are. They are always literally 2 steps ahead. And I think you just have to be out there because you live in a country where if you're not...
Survival mode.
You're going to be dead. So, our parents were born not from the UK and they had lived in a certain way and they had been brought up in a certain way and they felt that they were honouring their parents, or their parents said, this is what you need to do and we need to do the same. However, they've also had to kind of understand that we're not born in India or Kenya or, we're born in the UK. And obviously growing up in this environment, we're going to adopt some Western cultures. But I think there's an overlap. And I think, like I said, it's give and take. I don't think we can be so stubborn on either side. And of course, people listening to this podcast might think, well, you don't know my parents or you don't know, what they're like and blah, blah, blah. Which is fine. I mean, if that's the way it is, there must be a solution or sometimes it's agreeing to disagree.
Yeah.
So, about myself, my mum and dad were born in Punjab. They came over and, when they got married, they had an arranged marriage. And, they've kind of used the modern arranged marriage approach with me. And they said, my 20s, I was in a relationship, they were like, hurry up, get married. And I was like, no. And, they kind of gave up on me and just just get married, And I was actually
As
going
long as
out
it's
with.
a female.
No, it had to be Punjabi female. So the girl I was going out with was half, not from India. She was half European, half Indian, and my parents were not happy with that. But then they kind of accepted, and then I had my own reasons for not, getting married. But eventually, they just wanted me to get married to anyone. It was, like Rupa said, it was a female, and that was because of what they believed that I should do. So, marrying Rupa, they were kind of okay with it because I was in my early 30s and they were like, just get married, please. Rupa's Gujarati, I'm Punjabi, but, we're a branch of Sikhism. We're not the traditional Sikh. We don't wear the turban and, all those things. So they were quite open. They just said, Indian, ideally, speak the language, cook the food. We're vegetarian. We're strict vegetarian. And that was one of my no-nos as well. I mean, the girl I would marry, unfortunately, or fortunately, would have to be a vegetarian because I'm a passionate vegetarian and so are my family. And I live with my parents. And I'd always live with my parents. And a lot of my cousins and friends, they think, well, why would you live with your parents? What's wrong with you? I'm thinking, what's wrong with you? That's my answer. I mean, how could you not want to live with your parents? I know it's in the Western culture, you're still living with your mum and dad. They see it as a downer. I'm like, my God, the advantages of living with family outweigh the disadvantages like tenfold, hundredfold. So there you go. My my traditional or my cultural thing is coming out. So it's a bit of a give and take. But living under their roof, I'm pretty much doing whatever I want to do as well. So that's about my little background there. How about yourself, Rupa?
So, oh God, this is like going to be the longest podcast ever. If I go into so much detail, which I'm not going to, but like my family, as maybe I've explained in my first intro video, I believe, they're very, very like cultural, right? We've been born and bred within a certain community. And, in the beginning, you kind of feel like, you're being forced, or, you have to just go there to show face, and, you don't want to let your parents' name down and all that sort of stuff. So I think growing up, I kind of had a certain view on like, okay, I just have to go to show up, just to be there. And so trying to follow on to their traditions, I did go into a marriage prior to meeting Vinay, and I wouldn't say it wasn't an arranged marriage, but I knew I had to be with someone within my community. So having said that, like, I know generally the people who are in my temple or in my community, but this person in particular actually came from another country. He was actually born in Kenya. I was talking about Kenya. He was born in Kenya. So, he studied in Australia. He came to the UK. We got to know each other. And actually the thing that we had in common was sports. Like I was a tomboy growing up. I'm a very, very sporty person. Vinay still laughs at the fact that
She's a cricket coach.
Yes, I mean, I don't know why he finds that so, amusing.
Cute, okay. And a boxer and a footballer and many things.
Yes, many things all around her,
Where's her pink gloves?
Yeah, do you know
pink gloves are here somewhere.
Doesn't matter what colour the gloves are, right? The gloves go on and that is it. It's business. That's all I can say. But, going back to the story, I did get married, and I was married for 3 years prior to meeting Vinay. And, something like, for me, it didn't click. And I would have to say, my eyes opened more so after stepping into this industry, which is not a traditional industry. It's not just go to school, get your grades, get your degree, find a job, and then work the rest of your life. That's what I thought my life was going to go, but I didn't want it to go that way. And so, hey, I very much was practicing law of attraction at the time, and, things played out in a certain way. And I've got to say, when I came into this industry, in the beginning, my family was like, okay, you know what? It's a hobby. You want to try something different. We know because I had my own event management company at the time. I was a wedding planner. So that's like in a way, traditional business, but not traditional business. Is it's a business as well as working in a corporate job. So they were like, yeah, go try this thing, see how it goes. I don't think they actually realized how serious I was going to take this online business, how can you make money online? Like, oh God, that was a whole craziness.
Well, network marketing goes against any culture or I believe, or any traditional business sense. So it was a battle where you're kind of, because I did the same business. I was in a network marketing online business, and, you know, parents were like, you know, just become a lawyer. Like, you know, that's what my dad said, just become a lawyer. I never had the opportunity you had, although my parents were in business. And, you know, they were market traders for 10 years. Then my dad bought a few properties, and you know, I wanted to follow that process because I saw what my dad had done and my mum. My dad said to me, you know, go and become a lawyer. I never had the opportunity, but you know, deep inside, I didn't want to work for anyone. You know, I didn't want to do the Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You know, I just didn't want to, 8 till you faint. Used to hear. You know, I wanted to be my own boss, but I wanted to have a business which is, you know, self-running, provides residual income, or eventually provides some sort of residual income, and just doing what I really enjoy doing. And podcasting is one of them. But, you know, when we first started this, you know, both our families were against it.
Totally.
They were against us getting married. Well, your family more than mine.
Big time.
And then they were against us doing this business. And, you know, after, you know, years of just being stubborn, you know, we just kept at it. And then, you know, when the success came, obviously they jumped on board.
Exactly. And that's the thing about this. Like, you know, you may want to go into something and you say, well, I don't have my family support. I don't have my sibling support. I don't have my friend support. The only support you need is from God. Like, that's the way I see it. If you have an opportunity to do something and you really feel deep in your heart that something is magnetizing you towards an industry or towards a career or towards a relationship, you know, like, you got to have faith in it. And I remember for the first 4 years of me being in this industry, I made hardly any money, like hardly any money. And I was grinding. I was literally working like a dog. Like, after my, you know, I wouldn't say 9 to 5. It was never 9 to 5 in hospitality. I was doing 12 to 15 hours a day shift, Monday to Friday. After that, you come home and it's like, right, there's a meeting, there's a training, there's an event, there's something going on. Then you're running your business after that. And then the weekends, I had my wedding planning business. It was crazy. And like, my family was like, you're committing so much. My parents were like, well, how much money are you making? Every time I'd come home, how much money did you make today? I'm sure you've all heard that, right? It's typical. Like, you walk in, they're like, oh, how much money did you make today? It's like, hang on. But if you have a traditional business, let's just say I opened up a boutique or a restaurant, like, would I be expected to make money on day one? Like, no. They wouldn't expect you to make money then, but that's a traditional business. So you know that there's going to be a certain amount of years even until you break even, but that's acceptable. So this was really a question of acceptance. You know, they can't see what's online. They can't see what we're doing behind the computer. They can't see, if there's no physical product for them, it's like, what are you really doing? Is it real? Is it a dream? Is it a scam? You know, they want to see something tangible. And that was what was so difficult to explain. But as Vinay said, you know, as the results come through and they see certain changes in you, in your personality, like, they start to accept something's going on. Right?
And it's not just money. I mean, obviously money, you need that as a tick. You know, that is not the only measure of wealth. You know, it was about the person you're becoming. I remember, you know, my mum would say, you know, so-and-so is saying that, you know, your son's doing illegal stuff online and you know, he's doing a pyramid and all this and stuff. And you know, the funny thing is, it's not the same mum, but similar aunties would bring their children and say, can he follow your son? Because it looks like he's doing very well, and not only very well, but look what he's learning. We're going to events. We're into personal self-development. We're going and meeting people, and we're not, you know, we're not doing anything illegal. We're not, you know, cheating anyone. We're not lying to people. We're showing people an opportunity of how to make money unconventionally. So, you know, some people resonate with that, some people don't, and hey, that's okay. And you know, your parents, your family will start to see the change. Obviously, you know, when you start to do things with money, you can buy certain things, or you can do certain, you know, payments with the mortgage, or you can buy, you know, help out with buying. I can remember buying my dad a car, and you know, paying off mortgages and things like that, or helping, you know, with a mortgage payment. And you know, when they saw this, they were like, okay, wow, you know, carry on. Now they bring people and say, you know, can you help them? You know, so, you know, in the beginning, maybe it was against what they believed culture you can do. And afterwards, you know, they kind of, you know, it's like you're respecting each other. You know, you got the, whatever the cultural belief is of, you know, your parents and you. I don't think we can be so strong-headed or so strict, both parties. You know, because I was thinking, if my parents, you know, I live with my parents, And if my parents said to me, you have to stay at home and you can't go out and it's our rules, then I'd have to move out, I reckon,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
There's a certain limit to what you need, right? Like, I was living with my parents up until I got married, and then I went back to my parents. And then when I got married again, that's when I moved out. So, yes, I am very traditional still. Like my mum, I've seen my parents and my mum, supporting my grandparents. So she's lived with her in-laws all her life. And, making sure they get fed, doctor's appointments. It's just taking care, right, of your in-laws. And so for when Vinay was like, so whoever I marry, like I'd want her to live with me and live with my family. It wasn't something new for me. It was something that I really, truly believed in as well. So it's like we've still got the same cultural beliefs and what we feel is important to us. It may not be to other people. What's important to us, as long as it works, that's another very important point. If you simply don't get on with your families or your in-laws or whatever and you just clashed, then it's not worth staying together and making that relationship more sour. So, I got on really well with my in-laws, so I'm living with my in-laws still. But I remember feeling like, okay, although I'm doing things traditionally and sticking to my cultural roots, I'm going to be very untraditional about what I'm doing in business, in entrepreneurship, or when it comes to career. And that was very, very different. So yeah, I remember thinking the one of the most important things, and I think this is what really helped to make a shift of acceptance, right, for our parents. I remember my mom saying to me, listen, if you want to start, your own business, your clothes shop, your shoe shop, I will give you £100,000. She actually said that to me whilst I was going through my early years in entrepreneurship.
is that
right?
offer still on the table?
It might be. She'll probably kick your ass if you ask her, though. And
Let me text her in a minute. Yeah.
text her. She doesn't look at her phone.
Let me call her.
She's very, very traditional. She just about is learning how to open her messages and no, not messages.
WhatsApp?
Make calls.
She made you a video call the other day.
I know. I was absolutely shocked. But anyway, so she's like, oh, I can give you money. Like, what is this online thing you're doing? It doesn't make any sense. And I said to her, Mom, look, I just want to do something. You have to give me some time. And these conversations are so important. I was like, just give me some time, Mom. I need a couple of years to see results. It's not going to be overnight, but these are my goals. These are my dreams, and I'm doing stuff for you. And I'll tell you what, fast forwarding a few years from when I started, I set my parents first on a business class holiday. I think it was Thailand for my mum's 60th, even my mum's 50th. I sent them on a cruise. I had never been on a cruise. I had never been business class. So I'm paying for stuff and treating them to stuff that I hadn't experienced yet. And they're thinking, hang on, she doesn't even work her job. Because at this point, I had also quit my traditional job. And I had stopped doing my wedding planning business. And I was full focus on here. So having these conversations really helped. And I remember having a conversation with your mum. When Kiki, my eldest now who is 6, Kihan, he was maybe a few months old, only maybe 4 to 6 months old. So my firstborn, right? And me being this, online businesswoman and doing things on the internet and Zooms and all that stuff, I remember she saying to me Rupa, you're still doing, this kind of business, and a baby needs her mother, baby needs its mother in the evenings. Why can't you do stuff in the daytime? And I was like, Mum, the people that I do business with, they're working normal jobs in the daytime, because this is something people do on the side, right? It's not a full-time thing you would do straight away. It's like a side hustle in the beginning, part-time. So I said, Mum, people work in the day, their regular 9 to 5 jobs. Then in the evening, they come home wanting to do something more, add more value in their life for whatever reason. And I said, this is when my time is needed. So she's like, baby needs its mom, and, you can't do this anymore, blah. And I remember just feeling kind of at wit's end, I was like, oh my God, what do I do? I've committed so far this many years into it. I'm in my prime at the moment, really growing in this industry. And now I'm feeling the guilt of I can't be there for my baby. So it was a simple conversation I had with my mother-in-law, and she will probably remember this. And I said to her, look, Mum, I've got 2 options. I said, number one, I can just work a regular 9 to 5 job, although it may not, I don't even know if 9 to 5 jobs exist
Exist
anymore.
yeah.
There's like 0 hour
Yeah,
contracts.
or working from home and
You work whatever hours are required in order to keep your job safe, right? There's just so much competition. So I said, look, either I can do my 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday, I'm available on the weekend, and you know what? I'll be doing that for the next 40 years of my life, potentially. I said, that's the first option. I said, or the second option is you support me and help me if I need help with a baby or help with some looking after the child or something, maybe 2 or 3 times a week in the evening. I wasn't gonna take the mick. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, 7 days a week I can't be with my baby. Like, no. I'm also going to be committed to being a new mother, but at the same time, like, I have to also be committed to what I've started in my journey in entrepreneurship. So I said, look, 3-4 times a week, maybe I will need your support, but mum, if I do this for the next 5 to 6 years, even if it takes me 10 years, that I have to do something that's not traditional. But I was like, Mum, we can spend the rest of our lives living how we want to live, doing things in our time, having all the time in the world with each other, with the family, traveling, whatever we want as a choice. And when I put it to her that way, I think she was very much so open, and she understood like the reasons why we're doing this. And the reason why parents give us a hard time sometimes because they don't understand the reason. They're like, is she doing it as a hobby? Is he doing it because he's bored? Do they have nothing else to do? Do they want to just change careers because of, I don't know, whatever, X, Y, Z? If they really can identify with the reason that you are doing this, I think that they will give you that slack. They will give you that time to make it work. And they have, very much. We wouldn't be where we are without our parents' support. Like, without a doubt.
No, and you have to get that support. I mean, you have to, like you said, you had that conversation. And, it's funny because I'm thinking you're talking to my mum, Rupert's mother-in-law. And it's about having them to have that kind of access to each other. I mean, I know scenarios where, let's just say a wife felt a certain way about the husband's mum, and they'll come to the husband, and then the husband will go confront mum. They'll be like, Mum, you said it, and that creates a divide.
It does.
The good thing is, we have to be our own person, and in terms of, us mending relationships, finding a common ground and moving forward. And, I know that cannot always sometimes be the case for whatever reason. Let's say one party may be feeling very strongly about whatever it is, fine. But I don't think that's 99%, that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's just that we need to obviously allow, that communication. And I knew that, if I could marry, again, this is, I suppose, a generational belief, living with your parents. But that's ingrained in me. I wouldn't have it any other way. And, I knew if I could marry the girl who would live with my parents, we will be like a family. I think it will create a bigger divide than I would want living separately, and so many reasons. I mean, oh my God, your children lose touch in terms of culture. They don't, that relationship they have, the bond they have with their grandparents. When you live together, they have a massive, strong, huge bond, and you create that access. You create the environment to allow that access. And then financially, of course, financially living under one roof, you can do things, you can help each other. You have more resources, you have more opportunities. Like, we go on more holidays than we've ever done before. And, we can live a life where, being able to drop, my kids to school on most days, some days, I might have to not be able to do that, but on the bikes, pick them up on bike, I'll go gym during the day. All these things came about because the decisions we made, many years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it wasn't to kind of, break cultural traditions. It was almost to move them into the 21st century in some shape or form, because we are traditional in some respect. I still am a vegetarian, but people say to me, are you a vegetarian because of religion? I go, no, because I don't believe that animals should be killed just for us to feel good. I don't know if that's wrong or right. I don't think that animals should have to suffer or die just for us to feed our bellies, because you don't need to do that, man. And that's just a very barbaric, old school way. We're talking thousands of cavemen type of mentality, where were times where you had to kill, and when you kill the animal, you're going to be killed, right?
Yeah.
But in this modern day and age, that is something which I'm really. So is that the culture in me? Well, of course it is, because from a young age that's been ingrained in me. And now it's a moral reason where, if I'm older and I think to myself, I can't, people say to me, well, you don't eat meat. You know the way it tastes. I go, it probably tastes good. It does taste good. I know it tastes good. I've had it once by accident. It tastes good. But that
I
ain't...
would never. Oh my God. I touched it by accident and I fasted the whole day.
God.
I know that's extra, but I just felt so disgusted. I was like,
Well, if I eat by accident, I just eat it. I'm like, right, cool. I didn't know. I wouldn't go out there and buy it and, this and that. One of our mentors once, said to us, we're at dinner. I remember we were in Roca in central London.
yeah.
And this mentor of ours, who's a multi-millionaire, and he just couldn't get over it. And in his American accent, he's like, yo, Rupert, if I gave you $1 million, would you eat meat right now? And Rupert thought about it. She goes, no. And I go, David, first you show me the million. I'm going to eat it in my mouth, take the million, go toilet, spit it out. Or if I'm taking it out, throw it up.
I couldn't even ever. Like for me, it's a straight no. Yeah. Whatever money in the world you give me, I would not even put that thing anywhere near my mouth.
See, I wouldn't eat either, but I'll have it and then just think I'll throw it up. See, that's
a very
smart
business
minded people. Yeah, smart business.
That's
moving.
a businessman coming out. I was like, listen, I'm going to make my millions with or without this chicken in my mouth. So no, thank you.
So, I mean, look, we can wrap this up by, there might be a generational belief that's holding you back. And, we've talked about a lot on this podcast about, family or marriage or business. Health is a whole new topic as well. My mum and dad still think eating roti, chapati and a curry is the way forward. And that's been generational. When I say, well, if you look at diabetes, it's the highest among Asians.
And when we got married, it was about the time that you started doing like personal training and stuff, and you were more conscious of what you were eating. And I remember your gran, Gigi, was like, she used to say it to put in Punjabi as well to your mum. Because Vinay's married now, he stopped eating roti because of his wife. And I was like, what?
Nothing to do with that.
That is how strong their beliefs are, right? It's like, if you're not eating chapati, then there's something seriously wrong with you.
Yeah.
But...
Actually, another thing I remember, I'm just looking at my gran Gigi's photo now, and she said once that, I think when the kids were born, you took them home for... I don't know, a week or so.
Oh, yeah.
I even a weekend, I don't know what it was. And my grandma was like, I would never do that if it was my baby or something like that. I was like, you can't be like that. I mean, that's like, I don't understand. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
We live together in this house with you.
Yeah.
And, so that's the kind of stance, so traditionally she would be like, no, that's against tradition.
Yeah.
Stay here, they come and visit. And I was like, no, I think I will break that family tradition, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that's coming into the 21st century, modernizing it. But think about yourselves. It could be health, wealth, relationships, business, a generational kind of thinking, which you may want to address. Funny thing is, some things we address, like you address. Some things is my non-negotiable as well, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go out and do whatever I want to do in life, and they may not sometimes agree with it, but one thing's for sure, they know I'm traditional at heart. They know I'm going to come home. They know I'm not going to go and eat meat and start doing crazy things out there. And
you're crazy.
I'm crazy anyway.
You're crazy
but the thing is, they accept that, and I accept that they accept, because if they didn't have that leeway, and sometimes you have to create that leeway, because you might be thinking, oh well, I haven't got that leeway, so you know what, it's only one way for me. Well then, really and truly, I think personal development's needed here, because if you come from a position of gratitude, if you come from a position of, let me try and understand, I don't want to impose something, let me try and understand it, and then we come to some common ground before we start taking a stance on something.
Exactly. And I'm going to be honest, the problem with our generation is that we all feel like we're owed, it has to be our way or the highway. And it's like, when was the last time you said to yourself, do you know what, let me do this for my in-laws, or let me do that for my other side of the family. Let me actually make an effort, because, end of the day, I've married someone who's come from that family. And I know a lot of people that don't treat their in-laws like how they would treat their own parents. And I'll be honest, I feel like I treat my in-laws better than I treat my own parents. And in a way, you have to, because...
I know I do. I treat my in-laws better than my parents.
You do, exactly.
Because I'm scared of them.
Well, yeah. My not so much my dad. My mom definitely. Like everyone's scared of my mom,
Yeah.
so I don't blame you. I've learned to like live with it in my time. But yeah, if you think, oh, there's some sort of disconnect and I can't deal with being this cultural or sticking with certain traditions, I think you've got to ask yourself the question, like, what am I not doing right, Like, what can I do more to give, like, them value or make them feel more wanted or make them feel more loved? It's a give and take, and there's compromise, not only in a relationship, but in a household, there is compromise in everything. So, like, the way I see it, like, I'm getting so much support and help, we both are, when it comes to our kids. Like, I would do anything, like, I'm the one my in-laws would go to if they want to book a flight somewhere. I'm the one they'd go to if they want to make an appointment to do something.
Yeah, don't come to me.
Oh, no, like, it's always,
End up arguing my dad about God knows what. But,
but I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's my service,
you know what? People don't feel that way about their in-law. They feel that way about their parents as well. Because sometimes they're like, well, they done this. And, this is a whole new podcast. Actually, we were going to do this different topic about, forgiveness. Because a lot of people feel... for whatever reason, that their parents have done things in a certain way. But what we're not understanding is they did things as they thought was right.
Best, yeah.
And if someone is required to change, it has to be the younger.
Yeah.
It can't be, because the older you are, the harder it is to change.
Absolutely.
So I think, I remember going through this personal development exercise. I was like, whatever your parents have done, they've done it whatever they thought was best. And if you can forgive and move on, and not hold on to that, because if you hold on to that, then it's going to cause conflict. And the question you have to ask yourself is, am I going to hold on to it, or do I want to just move on, or do I want to stay in that
Exactly.
as harsh as it sounds, that victim mentality? Well, I'm the victim. This happened to me. This happened to me. Well, what about how great that made you feel? I mean, one of my favorite shows to watch on Netflix is I Am Not Your Guru by Tony Robbins. I must have seen that at least 20, 30 times. And the first intervention, the first question that is asked on the program to Tony Robbins is about that. And then he goes into the relationship and stuff. And I was thinking, wow, that's just me. So I think we need to let go of certain things. And also, the generational, whatever's going on in terms of how they think, if we come from, like Rupa said, compromise, willing to listen, negotiation, I think it really is. Identify something that's holding or something that's held in your family, and how can that be addressed? And hopefully this podcast has provided some tips and tricks.
Yeah. Any questions around this, guys? If we've maybe touched upon something sensitive, feel free to contact us directly. Like, we're always open. We're always open to opinions and thoughts and,
And
anything.
criticisms.
Yeah, and criticisms, always. Like, for us, we're always open to learning more. And I know there's a massive space for us to continue to learn in all areas. But yeah, this is just something we want to do to share, what has made us who we are today, I guess. What has been those things to mold us as a character and as a couple. So yes, I've very much enjoyed this discussion today.
Absolutely,
It's been
guys.
interesting.
As always, like and subscribe to our channel, and look forward to seeing you very, very soon.
Take care.